so terrible. I'll try and hold it in next time. Okay.
So I alluded to earlier that I attempted a Guinness World Record with Tom for the most countries visited by bike in 24 hours. Well, we visited 7 countries, cycling 300 miles in one day over 23 hours. And that entire journey started actually in 2013 when I attempted to break that same record with my friend called Johnny. So I was looking on the Guinness website trying to find any record which I thought could be plausible. I mean, I couldn't juggle underwater or pogo stick backwards or anything. So I found this cycling record which hadn't actually been set yet. So as long as we cycled to 5 countries in one day, we'd have set the record for the most countries. So there's a lot of planning. Guinness, we sent off the request to Guinness, and they send you back a guideline pack of what you need to do to achieve the specific record you asked for. Kind of like a list of stipulations and hoops you have to jump through. There are 3 main ones where you have to provide continuous video footage of the entire record attempt, so recording 24 hours, GPS track for the entire way, and a witness statement from somebody in each country that you cycled to. So we had a support team which consisted of my sister and her friend. We put a hard drive video camera on a frisbee, put that on the dashboard recording us, and they drove behind us for the entire way for non-stop about 15 miles an hour for 20 hours. That was the plan at least. The GPS, we both had a GPS watch and witness statements. Every time we stopped in a new country, we got a random person that we could find to write on a piece of paper, I can confirm I saw James and Jono in my country. So it was all coming together. We had the plan. We drove over to Poland. The plan was to work down from Poland, Czech Republic, and I think it's Slovakia, the triple point of 3 countries where they can all meet. That was our starting point. We drove over in April, and we started, and we couldn't have really chose a worse starting point, that triple point, because it's snow everywhere. We're up on a mountain, it's freezing cold. And we looked at the weather the few days before and it looked absolutely fine, but we must have not realised that the last few weeks before that it had been non-stop snowing. So we got there, we're on a road bike, obviously thin tyres, snow everywhere. It's like, okay, this is a great start. We didn't sleep very well last night because we'd been driving all the way there, had a rubbish Airbnb. So we had a rubbish night's sleep, then we were cycling up a sort of gravelly path when some stone must have gone up and just broke the gear mechanism derailleur at the back of my road bike. The whole thing broke and twisted, and suddenly it seized up, and so we stopped on the side of the road. For about an hour in, we were already behind schedule because when we started this rubbish start point, we realised there's no way we're going to get a signature from someone here. So we drove for another hour to find a decent start point, actually further in Poland. So we had to cycle further. So we were behind schedule. It was terrible weather. There was snow on the roads, and now my bike had just broken. So we thought this was a complete game changer. Okay, the bike's busted. What are we going to do about it? We didn't really bring many spares for fixing this kind of thing. Whereas my sister's friend and one of the other support team girls, she found some cable ties attached to a fence, keeping together a wire fence nearby, and using a pin she managed to make the cable, rather than breaking the cable ties, take off 2 of these cable ties, use those to connect the derailleur back to the seat post, and effectively fix my bike, but it's stuck in a single gear, so it's like a fixie. So for the next 200 plus miles I ended up cycling in a complete fixed geared bike, so we set this of a middle range gear. So we're cycling along, we're about an hour into the journey when we get a radio call from the girls in the car behind us. Say, guys, it's looking quite similar to one of the roads we've cycled on previously. It's like, this is weird. They are right, I think I've seen that white building over there before. So we carried on for maybe another 5 minutes, and then me and Johnny looked at each other and think, mate, I think we've been here before. So we pull over and we look at the sat-nav, because I'd programmed the route on this Chinese sat-nav which I'd imported from China. Thought I'd uploaded all the maps for the European area of Eastern Europe, but a whole road network around that area had changed in the last 18 months or so since the sat-nav had been updated. And so it turns out we'd be doing a massive 360-degree loop, and we pretty much ended up at the start line. So we're 4 hours behind schedule. We had a single fixed gear bike, the maps were wrong, morale was pretty low, and we're already about 30 miles of extra cycling which we didn't need to do, from going around in circles and stopping, and it was absolutely chaos. So by now it was about midday, and this record attempt was rapidly going downhill. So we thought we'll do the best we can, as long as we can try. The plan was to get 7 countries initially, but we thought as long as we get 5 countries, we still breaking the world record. So we carried on cycling, reprogrammed the Chinese sat-nav so it's going the right way. The weather got a little bit worse, we had a bit of a headwind. It was difficult, rubbish, and then at about 1 o'clock in the morning, Jono, my friend's knee, started swelling up, and this was after about 180 miles or so, in a lot of pain. So he managed to push through for another 30 miles, get through to the border of Hungary, where it's absolute agony and we decided, right, we can't go any further. We've already got our 5 countries, this is great, let's call it a day, it's done. We couldn't find anyone sign our little witness statement at this point, but at this point we were knackered and it was cold at night, and we thought, right, we've got a video footage, we've got a GPS tracks, and we had all the other witness statements, it should be fine. So we go home after 2 nights sleep in Austria or Hungary or wherever we were at the time, drove all the way back to the UK the following day, submitted it all to Guinness, and then about 6 weeks later we get the email back saying, well, we haven't got the witness statement for your final country, even though we sent them continuous video footage of sort of 15, 16 hours of continuous cycling, GPS track, and stills from the video footage of us crossing the boundaries of each country. Apparently that wasn't good enough because the stipulations are really quite strict with Guinness, as you can imagine. You have to do them exactly by the book, otherwise people could forge records. And so, by the book, and they said because you jumped through all the hoops apart from one, we can't give you the record. So not only everything went against us on the entire trip, we didn't end up getting the world record in it. So we had the unofficial between us, we knew we did it, but on a piece of paper we didn't get it. Which is why 4 or 5 years later when I told Tom about this, he said, oh, we can give it a bash, let's give it a try. So then I went back again, 2 years ago, so much more prepared with a working bike. We had a tailwind, this time we did south to north rather than north to south. It was good weather, good support team, and everything just slipped into place, and then we managed to do 305 miles in total. 23 hours it took us, and Guinness invited us up to their headquarters for a little live video stream for that. So it was absolutely amazing round 2.
To be fair, I will add to that even though we'd done all the planning, all the preparation, because I'd heard the horror stories, and I also sort of, I know what James can be like with that. So, you know,
things still go wrong.
Patching over the cracks. So at about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning of Argo, this is, I was on the bike in front, and James is obviously drafting behind me to save energy, so he's quite close, too close to be honest. He's too close because I'm occasionally just resting my eyes at the bike. Nothing more sinister than that, just the eyes are heavy. We've been up for, it was about 35 hours by now, and this is my first ever real bash at something endurance wise. Yeah. So I was sporadically resting my eyes and then not resting them, and then resting them again. Yeah, you remember what it looked like, you were behind me.
When he did, and he started snaking.
James rode into my bike.
And Tom veered into my bike?
No, it's always the person behind's fault.
And I thought it was Tom's fault because he was in front of me. He's just slowed down and veered in front of me. So we both, today, still think that it's the other person's fault. Either way, his wheel clipped my front tyre and I went down like a sack of potatoes on my side, grazed all the way down my side. Thankfully I was so tired and sort of dazed I didn't even bother to put my hands out. I could have actually damaged myself. So I just landed down on my side like that.
He hit the floor so hard. Yeah. I obviously didn't see it, I just got nudged in the back.
It's all recorded.
But it's on the dash cam video, and it, honestly, big bag of potatoes just...
So even when you plan and prepare for everything, anything can still go wrong. And even, thankfully, nothing actually injured or bad happened to my bike on that occasion, so we can continue it and all worked out okay. But even if you put every eventuality, you never know what's going to happen. I guess we're going to take the same mentality into Greenland. We might burn down the tent, or something might break into our ski.
Why would we might burn down the tent?
I'm just saying, you can't predict the thing. There could be like a little black swan.
We are not burning down the tent.
So black swan things could happen anyway.
That's the end of the expedition and maybe death.
Yeah,
there is no burning.
Can't predict everything.
I promise I'm not going to burn down the tent.
Okay, so we could like knock over our fuel supply or
Could you promise you're not going to burn down the tent?
I promise I won't burn down the tent.
I know Hamish won't.
Okay, then we're fine. But something
might
bad
burn down the tent. Hannah, could you please come to Greenland? You're the fire marshal.
Alright.